Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Welcome back to Challenger Spectate. So we are watching a Challenger Hecarim today, mainly because I have heard Hecarim is an absolute monster, and this is one of the good examples that sometimes the balance team, I don't know, they obviously the balance team, I would say, of any Riot department probably gets the most flack or hate, whatever word you want to use, but a lot of their decisions don't make a lot of sense. And I think the most recent example of this has been the Hecarim change that has turned him to be obnoxiously strong. I do believe he is getting a nerf next patch in the upcoming, so pretty much straight away gonna get a nerf, calm him back down. But yeah, someone in the chat just said a good thing is, you believe the balance team is good, but sometimes buffs are a bit heavy-handed. Potentially agree to that, because what I would ultimately say is we're around Worlds time, and whenever Worlds comes about, basically Riot tries to, in essence, force a meta. And how do you force a meta? Well, you make certain champions strong by numbers, and you make other champions weak by numbers. It's why we even saw a Kassadin buff when the champion was sitting at pretty much a dead even 50% win rate. The champion doesn't need a buff, but if Riot want Kassadin in for Worlds, that's how you guarantee a champion to be in for Worlds. You buff a champion that's already strong, or you take Hecarim, who's already good, but he's good in a tank avenue, a bruiser avenue, and then basically what they did is they flushed all that tankiness back, but moved all of that strength into raw damage. So his absolute carry raw potential now is absolutely insane. We've all had those moments even before the Hecarim buff, that a Hecarim would go back quite early, buy a Sheen, and then near one-shot you. Well, that's even worse now. So there's a full clear side on blue, is ghosting early, gets onto the Vlad, and you're basically hoping that the Vladimir is igniting the Hecarim and just straight up kills him. So Vex didn't really do anything there. That was purely the Hecarim. And that is basically, in essence, level 2 Vlad hoping he hasn't taken W yet. If he had W, he wouldn't have been dead, but obviously he took Q level 1 and E level 2 for wave clear. So that is a pretty all-in Hecarim. Just let's be honest though, it wasn't 100-0, but just absolutely demolishing a Vladimir straight away. And this is before any items. You know, he's doing that amount of damage already. So it's kind of nuts, potentially, of what this champion can do. Worth also knowing, his opponent in the jungle is Zed. Not typically, I would say, a meta jungler, but a while ago, Riot got in the fascination of buffing and giving non-jungle champions jungle scaling, because Riot ultimately, I do think, missed the mark on why jungle is the least popular role. It isn't the fact that, oh, I'm a Zed player, I can't play Zed in the jungle. Oh, Riot just buffed Zed to give him jungle scaling. Oh, I'll suddenly become a jungler. That's not the reason why people don't play jungle. The reason why people don't play jungle is most games of solo queue and ranked and hell even pro play, I'd imagine, are about the jungler. It's up to you. How much are you ganking? How much impact are you having? Are you getting the objectives? Are you getting the scuttle crabs? Are you getting the rift heralds? Are you getting the towel plates of the rift? There's so much a jungler is doing. And usually one jungler does very well and one jungler does not. Shen goes for a taunt. Hecarim in the area, does flash out the way. Good timed flash as well by Yone to avoid the bulk damage and ultimately the death. So well played to him. But that does give the Shen a nice little lane buffer. Misses his taunt, unfortunately, and that is going to cost the Shen a little bit. But ultimately, the Shen has got teleport. The Yone doesn't, has already burnt his ignite in the 1v1, where obviously Shen must have burnt his flash. But the Shen can just go back, teleport back to lane and be relatively okay. But the Shen doesn't want to do that. Ultimately, the Shen wants to hit level 6, uses ultimate to help someone around the map, and then teleport back to top lane. That is the best use of teleport on Shen. So build by Hecarim. So bit maybe even surprising to me, not buying that Sheen first, has opted for tier 2 boots, which obviously, yes, does directly give Hecarim damage. And then going for a tier. Now, I don't know, maybe Mirror Mana is part of the new Hecarim, because obviously Mirror Mana gives big mana use, etc. That is a spammable ability of Hecarim, is a lot of mana. And it does give AD. That's kind of funny. Vladimir helping the Hecarim wave clear the jungle. Thank you very much. This is a bit weird to see. But as you can see, like the Zed's equal involvement right now in the game. Zed went bot lane and got a kill. Equal farm. So nothing majorly in it at this stage. Both junglers are doing okay. Not exceptional, but they're both doing okay. Hecarim is spawning while not clearing this camp. Is now clearing it, so that's a bit random. Using his smite, one smite away from completing the jungle item. Zed bot lane again, so every jungler, I've spoken about this many a time, usually has favored lanes they like going to. Clearly this Zed likes going to bot lane. So tower diving, which I would say is a little bit interesting. They are going to try their best to do what they can. Can she dodge? She's trying her best. She does actually do a lot of damage. They do end up killing Yone in top lane. And Severe, again, I wanted to watch this because this was interesting. Doesn't end up with any kills. They're all very low, so that's unfortunate. They do kill Yone, by the way, in the time. Hecarim level to 6 from the kill. Didn't even use his ultimate, so has that now available. But yeah, so it is hard for the Severe and the Zilean to end up surviving. The good thing is when Zilean eventually hits level 6, he is then a very hard champion to tower dive. So yeah, so blue buff steal potential. If they can get this, it's never a bad thing, obviously. But I will say, you know, you're not hurting the enemy team massively by stealing a blue. Like, don't get me wrong, a Zed likes blue buff, but it doesn't ruin him. You know, if you're stealing a blue buff from a Karthus or a Fiddlesticks jungle, that's really gonna hurt. It's a Zed, they can make do without it. Same will, you know, oh, they're mid laner, you know, not taking blue away from giving it to the mid laner. Well, again, it's a Vlad who doesn't use mana. So ghosting coming out, goes for it really early on. Gonna wait around for his E. Really good Q actually by Yone. So that what you're seeing is like the Hecarim kind of just makes sudden decisions of like, now's the time to go. And well, the Yone reacted to it well because ultimately the Yone player is also a challenger player. But yeah, I'm not entirely convinced this tower dive is on, but Vex has arrived. What can be done? Vlad probably will be making his way here if I had to guess. It would be weird if he didn't. They are committing a lot of time to this. Go for the... Oh, good dodge. But he will end up ultimately dying, I would imagine, this Yone. Does get feared instantly into the damage. Shen ultimate coming down. Maybe a little bit overkill there. Zed also taking a lot of damage. Is flashing, but got Q'd, which slows by the Shen. And then the Hecarim with the charge down. Smite by the Zed to keep himself alive. Ultimately, doesn't matter. Does end up dead too. Kind of felt like if the Zed just absolutely ran away, he could have lived there, but he did try to do a bit of damage in that situation, which, you know, you can respect. But that's overall a really good situation for, obviously, the Hecarim team. Oh my god, really? So the Hecarim is still actually buying Sunfire. So just reminding, this is current patch. They took away tankiness by Hecarim and gave him insane damage ratios off buying AD. So that's a bit weird to me that he's still buying a Sunfire item. It's weird, but also at the same sense, maybe not. Because if you actually look at current meta in League of Legends, League is a little bit messed up and has been for a while in the fact that assassins are buying tank items and tanks or bruisers are buying assassin items. There's quite a lot of that happening right now. So ultimately it's because the damage in the game is still incredibly high and you're not getting actively punished for buying a tank item, or if you're playing a bruiser, actually buying an assassin item gives you that extra, it gives you that extra kind of burst almost, like a Hecarim and a Renekton buying a Zonya's and stuff like that. Not Zonya, Prowler's Claw. Dasluch 27 months says, what's up, Huz? With all due respect for the Queen and her immersing reign, I'm happy her services are done. Simply because I get some Huz. And why a long break for the summer F1. Yeah, we get F1 in a couple of weeks, but yeah, I'm recording this after the Queen's funeral. I watched a bit of it. It was grand is what I would say, but yeah. And yeah, that's why we started late today. And if all I would say is if I'm a little bit subdued here or there, there's a couple little things, but ultimately I'm doing okay. It's just, yeah. So Hecarim's just going to continue his full clear, gets Rift Herald. And I will say, when I do occasionally jungle, I will actually say that is one of my weaknesses as a jungler, is I don't prioritize Rift Herald very much. I prioritize dragons, but I need to get into that Rift Herald is value. Rift Herald, pretty much on every single time that you use it, is hundreds of gold. So yeah, so that is the item. So it's not a Sunfire technically, it's a Turbo Chem Tank. So it is a good Hecarim item because ultimately you're getting movement speed, and movement speed does translate into damage from a Hecarim. So it's not a bad item. It does kind of make sense, but yeah. So I would be interested to see if now does Hecarim start building damage. Am I doing okay after the crash? Yeah, I guess I'll briefly just touch upon this. I don't want to talk about it too much on videos and stuff, but unfortunately, Saturday evening, me and Queen Pleb were involved in a car accident. Everybody involved was okay. I'm not going to go into crazy details, but it basically involved a motorbike going into the back of me. I didn't do anything wrong. I've been told this by police and stuff. So it's just unfortunate. I had to deal with all the insurance and everything yesterday, and ultimately my car's going to get fully repaired back to manufacturer standard. But obviously it is a shock. It's the first proper car accident type of thing I've been involved with personally, but it is what it is. You know, it's something that all I would say is, you know, you guys who have listened to me in the last couple of weeks have not been the best mentally in some regards, so it's just something that I just didn't need right now. But you know, it is what it is. So dive was really well played by the Hecarim, has to be said, and then Zed comes in at the end and does a bit of cleanup on Zed. Ultimately, that is what Zed is really good at doing. You know, when you guys watch me play Zed, that is what this champion is fantastic at. You've got two people low health, he can just pick off both of them pretty easily. So that was good by the Zed, but also was well played by the Hecarim. And you're going to start, I would potentially see, hey Zelge buddy, you're going to start to see the Hecarim's, you know, pace. Hence, you know, yeah, he's a movement speed champion. You're going to see his pace of game speed up. He's now got his mythic. He's getting closer to like the mirror mana, I'm guessing. And you're going to start to see probably, yeah, he'll still farm a bit, but you're going to see every single cooldown of his ultimate go for a play. Cooldowns back up, go for a play. That's ultimately what Hecarim's all about. It's high tempo that most opponent junglers cannot keep up with the tempo. They're slower wave clear. They're slower as an actual champion. You know, let's not, you know, he is a very fast champion. So let's see what can be done. He's got his ultimate cooldown back in a few seconds. One thing is also notice is he's quite on it. Oh, Zed's nice smite. He's quite on it with the scuttle crabs, but Zed also does seem to be quite good on smiting. So that's a good thing to note. And that is something, by the way, you will as a jungler, if you do get outsmited a few times in the game, it will affect your play. Zed has to be careful here. He prowlers, he gets taunt flashed by the Shen of all things, and now he's using his mobility as best he can, and the Zed, again, he gets a kill. So that, again, with all the shadows, the prowlers, the flash, trying to be as flexible as he can be, not too bad by the Zed there, but does ultimately end up dead. I would say Yone, a normal Yone is going to think to be aggressive here. I would actually be potentially not. So he's going for the all-in, and he doesn't get it. He went for the proper all-in. He used Ignite, he used Flash, he used his ulti. Hecarim's not dead. And that, again, is ultimately why still buying a tank item is always a strong thing, because if he did have a Divine Sunderer there or an Eclipse or something of that nature, he probably would be dead. Yes, his damage output technically would be more, but he also would be so much squishier. But yeah, thanks, Zelge. But yeah. Is insurance different in the UK? Yeah, no, I'm not paying anything for my car repair. All of that's covered because I was not at fault. So I'll have a courtesy car for a few weeks, however long it takes. And it'll be... They say it gets repaired to manufacturer standard, so basically has to go to basically brand new. So that's good. But yeah, Hecarim going to go for the Zed, who is under the tower. Does have his mobility though, and ultimately will get away. Hecarim did use Ghost for that, by the way. And yes, someone just said, can we not see things that Hecarim? Yeah, so replays unfortunately have been bugged for quite a long time, and it just doesn't seem to be a priority of Riot to fix it. So when Hecarim is pressing W and there's normally a big circle around Hecarim, unfortunately, we can't see that. It's the same if ever you watch a Kennen in a replay. You can't even see Kennen ultimate. I don't think you can see Fiddlestick's ultimate. Generally, any of like the big circle AoE things, for some reason, you just can't see them. It is what it is. Maybe even Karthus E, yeah. It just hasn't been a priority for Riot. You also have to remember, it took Riot, God, what year did they come out? It took Riot a good, I want to say 7-8 years of League's existence to even have an official replay system. It was very much not a priority for them, and it still kind of isn't. All right, so going for the Ezreal. Look at the damage. Again, it hasn't got a credible burst, it hasn't got a full AD, and Hecarim is still dealing a lot of damage right now. Goes to the ultimate for the fear, and ultimately pretty much kills everybody involved. Shen didn't have his ultimate, but didn't need to in the end. Well, Zilean died, but Zilean also didn't have his ult to save himself. And that's kind of what you're seeing. You know, the game right now has got 13 kills for red team. Hecarim isn't being involved in 10. It's the high tempo. I'm involved in pretty much every situation, and that's kind of how you play this champion, is you get involved. Vladimir does end up surviving again. Vladimir, I've said it since the season's beginnings, and Vex does a nice cleanup there. Vladimir is obnoxiously strong. It is something that when I get back onto the main account, and I'm hoping to do that tomorrow and have a good session on the main account, I might play a game of Vladimir tomorrow to see how I feel playing him. Because in theory, literally since the beginning of the season, the champion is obnoxiously strong. He has no mana. You know, he's got none of that, so you can indefinitely stay in lane in theory. He is a hyper-scaling champion. Meanwhile, the fight happening, Yone does go down. Zed doesn't know probably what exactly to do. He will. Shen ultimate come down as well. So Zed actually did a smart thing there. He ulted to hope that the Zilean ult would time out, and then his pop of his ultimate would have killed Hecarim, but then Shen ultimate came in and saved his life. But yeah, I might play some Vlad tomorrow, is what I would say. And then obviously, as for Hecarim, even though his AD has been buffed, I'm hoping what we're going to see from the remaining part of the game, and yeah, you are, look, he's now buying AD items. So he's got Mirror Mana, or Mana Immune, AD item. He's then got Warhammer, which might be a Death Stance, is what I'm guessing. But you're going to... every other item now that he buys for full build should be full AD. Or have AD components at least in them. So I don't think you'll see really, unless he actually has to, buy like a Spirit Visage or something. I think every item from now on should have some type of AD involved. Dragon isn't spawning until 2 minutes and 20. So again, the hover around Dragon is a bit weird. Hey, Hawkeye. But there is a Vladimir. Vex goes for an early fear into the Vladimir. Look at it again. Hecarim's burst there was so high. Big, like, look at that. Vladimir nearly 100-0s the Vex. Vex even has shields. That's a fed Vex. That was a 0-2 Vladimir. If that doesn't show you how strong Vladimir is, it's insane. Because if this Vladimir got 1 or 2 kills from lane phase, or that wasn't a 5-0 Vex, that just shows that Vlad is dangerous. Someone just said, does Zilean speed boost count to Hecarim's damage? Yes. So it is always why these two champions historically in League of Legends have always been paired. Any bonus movement speed counts to this champion. Even severe ultimate will count. So actually having a severe Zilean bot lane is arguably pretty much the best bot lane you can pair with a Hecarim, because you're ultimately giving him strength. So Shen actually kills the Yone solo. That doesn't surprise me too much. Vex going for some one-shot damage. Hecarim ghosting. Zilean respawns. Hecarim going to go over onto the... Jeez, okay. Kills the Ezreal. Zed's going to try and escape. Ultimately doesn't. Shen ultimate comes in and saves the day. Look how quick he is. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely nuts. And every bit of movement speed, just reminding, is Warpath. Right now, for him just running around, he's gaining 27 bonus AD. When he gets the bonus movement speed, again, now it's 14, now it's 10 because he's not got much movement speed, he gets so much AD. So we'll see. He's got 227 AD right now. I'd be interested to see if we can see when Zilean speeds him up, how much does he get? Again, Sven in chat just saw 314 AD. And just reminding, historically, Hecarim is not a champion that is supposed to have 300 AD. And if my memory serves correct from the patch notes, they gave... Oh, this is going to be close. He doesn't get it. I think they gave his Q a 0.6... I think they gave it a 6% bonus AD, like damage ratio per 100 AD. So if he's got 300 attack damage, he's gaining 18% of the bonus damage just from his movement speed of extra AD. What the hell? Okay, that's... I can see why this champion's probably a little bit too nuts now. That's just going to get toned down, though. All right, here we go. Big fight. Bam! He goes to the early burst. Isn't going to dilly-dally too much with it. Big Zed into Yone. Then a Vladimir, who again is 0-3, but be scared of him. Hecarim will just survive. Fight continuing. Kotabra, thanks so much for the 25 months with Prime. Says, good morning, I'm able to catch your streams. Wish I wasn't sick, though. Hope you've been well. Oh, sorry to hear that you're sick. Hopefully things get better for you and you recover well. Hecarim does survive. All of red teams survive, by the way, just. Vex yeets into the Ezreal. Oh, it doesn't get the fear. If the passive procced, and Ezreal will get the shutdown. That's huge. Because again, that's a Magi champion. So killing a Magi champion is always higher increased value. Shen ulting. Ace has come through. Shen uses ultimate to save the Severe. Baron is now ultimately being pinged by the Hecarim. Dragon not on his radar, I guess. Enemy team also has 2 dragons, so you really wouldn't want to give them an extra dragon. But I guess he just isn't in that mind frame for it at the moment. Or maybe he has the confidence of you know, they're going to come try to stop the Baron. They're not going to go straight to the dragon, maybe? But I don't know. So Karma, you can see, is on her way. Oh, that's a Zed. He goes through the warp gate, gets taunted, and ultimately dies. So again, nice attempt by the Zed, but good chain CC by red team. Vladimir ultimate. That's a really late smite, actually. And all I would mainly focus on here, look at the damage. Oh my god. Oh my god, Hecarim damage. Oh, snap. That was smart. During Vladimir's W, he can go through the warp gate? I did not know that. And then Shen's leaving it for the Hecarim. Legendary Hecarim. Rapid Pigeon, or Rabid Pigeon, thank you so much for the 18 months of Prime. Appreciate it, appreciate it. So again, look, he had 400 AD. Oh my god. If Hecarim has 400 AD, he's going to be dealing so much damage in burst. Whoa. And obviously, this is only officially happening because he's paired with a Zillion. But still, that's a lot of damage. And now, the Zed. I will say the Zed is starting to make quite a lot of positional mistakes. A little bit desperate. So Hecarim gets another kill there. Again, it does seem... What's the Yone doing? I would not go near this Hecarim. Vex coming in. Nice burst there. Yone going to do his best to kill a Zillion, but then his ultimate and is dead. Fear onto the Ezreal with then the burst with the Vex. Jesus. Yeah, I can see why Hecarim has turned into one of the crazy junglers now. And ultimately there is the surrender. So 12-1-10 performance. Again, reminding in Challenger, and not building like obnoxious full AD is still quite tanky. So you can't one-shot this Hecarim, even with Death's Dance that obviously stops one-shots a lot of the time. But it's dealing, as we just saw, so much damage. Whew. But anyway, that's going to be it. So it looks like it is getting nerfed. But that is going to be it. If you guys did enjoy this Hecarim game, which was absolutely nuts, and also the Vex played well too, throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. See you guys next time.